So in March, we should have the launch of the Artemis 2 mission, which is really exciting. It's our first return to the moon in over 53 years. Let's take a little bit of a look at what the mission is about and what you could teach to students to kind of help them understand it. So the Artemis 2 mission is primarily a test mission because it's going to be the first time that we're actually having a crewed launch of the Orion spacecraft. So it's a 10-day mission carrying 4 astronauts: Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and the Canadian Space Agency's Jeremy Hansen, who will have his first flight in space. Here's a quick look at the trip, which is going to be the deepest we've ever been in space as humans. So, the big piece of this Artemis mission is that it isn't just going back to the moon, but actually going into deeper space like Mars. So, we're not just visiting the moon, we're actually building a base there in Artemis 3, and potentially it will be a stop off for going to Mars and other places. But in terms of teaching, it has real world STEM connections. You're able to show different career pathways and really curiosity and innovation in a real way. There are so many important elements of this mission that it's hard to even get into all of them. But some of the major things are space weather, astronaut health, and some of the science projects that are in action, not just from NASA, but from groups around the world. The rocket being used is the SLS, or Space Launch System, and when it was first launched in 2022, it was the largest rocket NASA ever used. It has now been surpassed by the Starship, but it is still very impressive. And actually, it was having some hydrogen leaks, which is why the flight is delayed from its February date in the first place. So there are some really interesting factors about it. It is somewhat similar to the organization that we're kind of used to with the shuttle missions and previous rockets. It's just a lot more robust. So, it is a massive rocket and super, super powerful. The twin solid rocket boosters will also have a America 250 emblem along with a special patch for America's 250th anniversary. So there are many ways to teach this. In elementary, you could talk about drawing the Artemis crew patch or building a moonkin, which is like a mannequin, which they actually created to see how radiation affects astronauts. In middle school, you could explore actually living on the Orion capsule, which is still very small, even though it's bigger than previous capsules. Students are always interested in the toilet and how that works in space, along with sleeping, relaxing, eating, just personal hygiene, and some of the engineering and life support that is necessary. And in high school, you could try calculating the free return trajectory of the ship. One of the things that I've learned as a NASA solar system ambassador over the years is that there's many, many applications to connect with people and to teach students about any of the missions. But this one is especially important because these students are now considered the Artemis generation, meaning that they will actually see space flight go into deeper space, which is an exciting proposition. The best resource for learning more about this is actually NASA itself. So go to nasa.gov/mission/Artemis 2. So that's a quick look at the mission, which is really exciting. It's going to be happening sometime in March. It's planned for the early March, but you never know. It got delayed from February. And there's lots of information if you want online. If you go to nasa.gov, you can search Artemis 2. And they have a great website with lots of resources and information about all of the different elements of the mission and about Artemis 3, which is where we'll actually be landing on the moon and actually setting up a base, which is exciting. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.